Picture this. You walk into a crowded room. Maybe it's a networking event, a party full of strangers, or even just a high-stakes meeting at the office. It's a sea of silhouettes, right? Everyone's buzzing with conversation. But within minutes, if you really pay attention, you'll notice this fascinating, almost invisible hierarchy starting to form. People just naturally start gravitating towards certain individuals. Their words somehow seem more persuasive, their physical presence just feels heavier in the room. When they speak, people really listen, and they're the ones everyone remembers long after they've left.
We have all seen the loudest voice in the room. You know exactly the person I'm talking about. They just effortlessly command attention, and their opinions carry this undeniable gravity. And when we witness this, our brains automatically make a subconscious assumption. We figure, well, if everyone is quietly captivated by this person, they must know what they're talking about, right? They must possess some extraordinary talent, some deep competence, or some hidden insight that the rest of us just lack.
But here is the slightly unsettling, often unspoken reality. If you were to pause and objectively examine their actual intelligence, their tangible skills, or their depth of knowledge, you'd likely discover something pretty surprising. They aren't necessarily the most talented person in the room. They usually aren't the smartest, and they aren't the most experienced either. What they actually possess is a completely different, almost invisible force. It's confidence. They have this magnetic, outward projection of certainty that entirely masks any lack of superior ability.
So it really makes you wonder, why do our brains instinctively trust confidence long before we ever actually verify competence? Why are we so eager to blindly follow the mere appearance of certainty? It's a deeply uncomfortable question because it exposes a major vulnerability in how we perceive the world. We all like to believe that we evaluate others rationally, analyzing the evidence, measuring their actual ability, and forming highly logical conclusions. But the truth? Human psychology operates in the shadows, far, far away from logic.
Part 1. The Invisible Force.
Think about it like this. Imagine two people presenting the exact same idea. The first speaker is a bit hesitant. Their voice wavers slightly, maybe they apologize for a minor detail, or they second-guess themselves out loud. Then you have the second speaker. They present the exact same objective facts, but they speak with this unwavering calmness and total authority. The information is literally identical, yet almost universally, audiences will perceive that second person as more credible, more intelligent, and far more trustworthy. Confidence doesn't actually change the facts at all. It completely warps our interpretation of them.
Which brings us to Part 2, the evolutionary glitch.
To really understand this vulnerability, we have to rewind, way back. Early humans actually used confidence as a desperate survival shortcut. Imagine living in an ancient, unforgiving world. Resources are incredibly scarce, danger is a constant reality, and the information you have is always incomplete. When a tribe faced a literal life-or-death decision, they simply didn't have the luxury of following the person who wanted to sit around and ponder the nuances. They followed the person who appeared decisive. Blindly following certainty reduced the terrifying psychological discomfort of living in a completely unpredictable world. We are literally hardwired to seek stability over accuracy.
Part 3. The competence paradox.
Now flash forward to today. Modern society takes this ancient evolutionary glitch and twists it into a really dangerous paradox. We naturally just assume that confidence is born from knowledge, but in reality, it's often the exact opposite. Highly capable individuals actually notice the unknowns. Because they can truly comprehend the vast complexity of a system, they experience profound self-doubt. Meanwhile, the inexperienced? They miss the complexity entirely. To them, the world appears quite simple, the answers seem obvious, and so they feel effortlessly and dangerously certain.
If you're an ambitious, self-critical person who ever battles imposter syndrome, you really need to hear this. Your self-doubt does not mean you are incapable. In fact, it's often a marker of profound intelligence. It simply means you are acutely aware of reality and its complexities. Confidence, on the flip side, is not always evidence of competence. Sometimes it's merely evidence of a dangerously incomplete understanding of the world around you.
Part 4. The modern performance.
Because today, this evolutionary glitch, it's practically weaponized on a global scale. We're a society of isolated individuals, endlessly scrolling through perfectly curated feeds, utterly convinced that everyone else feels perfectly confident, while we alone suffer in silence. We see confidence displayed through shiny achievements and very careful personal branding. But what remains completely invisible are the private insecurities, the hidden doubts, the paralyzing anxiety, and that universal, very human fear of failure. The confident executive experiences it. The massive influencer experiences it. Even that magnetic person across the room experiences it.
It's the classic trap, right? We constantly compare other people's polished external performances to our own messy internal realities. We watch their meticulously edited highlight reel and brutally judge ourselves against our own behind-the-scenes footage. And because confidence is so frequently performed long before it's actually deeply felt, appearances completely deceive us. We start believing everyone else possesses this magical, innate trait that we just lack, and we end up trapping ourselves in a suffocating echo chamber of perceived inadequacy.
Finally, part 5, the quiet decision.
So how do we actually break out of this illusion? Well, true confidence does not magically appear right before you do something. Most people wait to feel confident before they take the leap. But human psychology actually operates in reverse. Action arrives first. The action creates the experience. That experience leads to adaptation. And only then, as a byproduct, does confidence slowly start to emerge. Confidence is never a prerequisite for starting. It's the reward you get for surviving the discomfort of trying in the first place.
The biggest secret that the captivating person across the room will never reveal to you is this. They act way before they feel ready. They don't have perfect certainty. They certainly aren't devoid of fear. They simply take the opportunity. They speak up, and they step right into the unfamiliar anyway. Over time, that uncertainty transforms into understanding. They accumulated all that confidence by acting first, while everyone else remained frozen in the shadows, waiting for a feeling of certainty that, frankly, is never going to arrive.
At the end of the day, true confidence isn't about eradicating fear, and it is certainly not a guarantee of success. It is simply the willingness to keep walking anyway. Life is deeply, inherently unpredictable, and failure is just a constant companion for all of us. The difference isn't that confident people are somehow free from these heavy burdens. It is simply their quiet daily decision to move forward before certainty ever arrives. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this. The next time you face the vast unknown, will you wait in the shadows for a comfortable illusion, or will you take the terrifying action that actually builds you reality?